Well, I think now is a very good time to try and get on top of the weeds so that they don't give you too much grief later on in the season. I think some weeding at this time of year can save you quite a lot of time later on. It's a bit of a boring one, I'm afraid.
I always try and sow as many seeds as possible a few days before a full moon. They will have all the benefits and the energies that are given out by that full moon, and they should grow into good strong plants, and then put them into your vegetable garden in a little wigwam, and they will go on flowering right the way through till the autumn, and they will give you the most delicious smell of all the sweet peas. They are wonderful. And the variety is Matucana.
What the variety again?
Matucana.
Matucana.
Yes, Matucana.
What colour are they?
They're a sort of mauvey, purpley, double colours.
Is that the one they call the Italian?
I don't know, but I've
grown
grown
them
it.
and I agree with you. I think
They
that's
are absolutely wonderful, and in your vegetable garden they look fantastic, and of course they will attract the bees, what bees there are left, and but the scent, and obviously go on cutting them, and they go on flowering, and they are just wonderful.
I would sow them outside.
No, I would sow them. I would just get them started inside, and in pots or in root trainers, and then get them out when they're big enough.
Does the moon's influence have indoor?
Does what?
Do they still have the influence of the moon?
Well, I like to think so. It does shine in through the windows.
Have you done trials to see, to compare?
I haven't done any
results of
really
different
real
sowing
detailed
times?
trials, but I've read quite a lot about people
I think it's
who
very
have,
interesting.
and
It's extremely very interesting.
you know, there's a lot of evidence that it does work, and it does have an influence, and
I can understand why it would work if it's stuff that's actually in contact with the earth, because of the influence of the
Yes.
tides and water levels and all that.
yeah.
I'm not quite sure. I don't quite get how it works if you're growing things in containers.
Well, it's all yes, it's all a bit. It's all to do with the. You also ought to, if we're going into the biodynamic calendar, you ought to try and choose a flower day. There are 4 different days of the leaf, the root, the flower, and the fruit days, depending on the positions of the constellations and things. It all gets too very, very complicated. But if you try and do work, if you do work with your leaf plants on a leaf day, or flower plants on a flower day, right the way through the season. And I try and do this. I can't keep to it rigorously, but I think it does help. And I wouldn't mind betting that in 20 years' time, if we're all sitting here, that biodynamic growing will have become very popular, and it will have sort of gone overtaken from the organic sort of scene. I think it could be the next sort of, I don't know what to say, the next bit of growth.
It's going to become more mainstream.
I think it will. Yeah.
So where would you get these dates from then? A leaf date and a flower day and
There are several calendars. There's a book by a chap called Nick Collerstrom, which you can get in Smith's or Waterstones or something. And in the front of that book, it gives a very good short sort of history of biodynamic growing. And then there's a calendar for the whole year. And also there's a lady called Maria Thun, who's a German, who's done lots and lots of biodynamic growing for I should think 50, 60 years. And there's a little booklet that she produces, and again, it's interesting, sometimes if you look at both calendars, they don't always...
I was going to say, do they always do that?
No, they don't. And then there's another one, if you Google In Tune with the Moon, is a website, and I think they're down in Sussex. And it's a bit of fun.
yes.
It's,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, I don't know.
We now need to find some of these sweet pea seeds. Do they?
Yeah.
Do lots of people sell it?
Thompson
Right.
Morgan, I think.
Thompson, but if you can't
Seen
get
them
them,
around.
where I get my sweet peas from is a fellow called Roger Parsons, who is in Sussex. I think he's the secretary of the National Sweet Pea Society. But if you write to him, he will sell you a packet of these Maticana sweet peas and all sorts of other. I mean, his sweet pea catalogue is delicious. It really is.
And if you only grow one variety, then that's a very good thing to save the seed from, because they will
Yeah.
come true.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they're very easy to set.
And if you,
They're quite difficult to not save them, really, because you always get
Yeah.
the odd one or two that
Yeah.
sets seed.
yeah. And if you grow that one, you'll want to keep growing it.
Thank you.
So could you plant those in a pot if you have room in the vegetable garden? Could they go in a pot easily?
What, and keep them in a pot?
Yes.
Yes, in a nice deep pot, plenty of organic matter in the bottom, and have a saucer
Yes.
at the bottom so you can water them, because you mustn't let them dry out. Yeah.
And keep picking them as well.
Mm.
That's important, because then they'll keep on producing more flowers.
Take them to your friends, and they'll love them even better than a cake.
Yes.